Hello everybody, Will here from the internet. Here are all the videos I made this year. If you're thinking, oh, is that all you made this year? Same, fewer than anticipated. Some of them better than others, let's be honest. Enjoy.
Rishi, welcome back to your NHS GP practice that you definitely go to all the time. Just so you know, this appointment can last as long as you want. I've got loads of time. So, your results. We couldn't find a heartbeat. You're going to need prescription glasses, and your body temperature is only 25 degrees. There's a lot of medical jargon there, but in layman's terms, all that means is that you're heartless, short-sighted, and incredibly cold. You do seem to be doing very well for someone who appears to have no spine, and it's really great to know that someone can live without a funny bone in their body. It says here that your teeth apparently have skin on them. That's how you became Prime Minister, I see. Looks like last year you had that useless little thing removed. No, your appendix, not Liz Truss. Your colon is looking very healthy, and it is not unlike you, completely full of shit. You seem quite jet-lagged. Have you been on any long-haul flights recently? You flew from London to Leeds. That is disgusting. Imagine going to Leeds. Oh! You do seem to have a bit of blood on your hands. Have you ever considered just washing your hands of everything? You have. So I had a nurse look over your results, and they said that you seemed like a very sick man, but you have to remember that nurses are incredibly stupid and pointless, so... I think you're fine, but as someone who works in the NHS, it would be remiss of me not to talk about the main thing that people in the NHS are talking about at the moment. It's uncomfortable, but it's all we're focused on. So, have you read Prince Harry's book? It's mad, isn't it? I wish the media was covering it more. Do you know what? I think I'm going to prescribe you a copy of Spare. Will it help? No, it won't help at all. But it will distract you from actual problems. That's us done. Thanks, Rishi. If you need a lift home, just ask one of the ambulance drivers on the way out. They've not got much on. Alex, could you send in the next patient, please? I believe it's Harry who's come to ask questions about his todger.
Hello, I'm in a coffee shop. How relatable. Things have become more difficult and more expensive, and these cups represent the reason for that. Nunny milk flat white for Jacob? This coffee cup is just like our promises, fundamentally empty. I've got a ticket for the train cancelled. Instant coffee for Liz Truss. Oh, she's gone. So the Tory party, we are like an Americano. Powerful, bitter, and preferably white. The Labour Party, at the moment, basically the same, but decaf. Delivery for Nadine? Didn't realise you guys took stuff offshore. Now, would you look at that? A lovely cup of hot apple cider. Now, I know some of you will say that the cider was made with some bad apples. Some of you might say that the entire orchard those apples came from is toxic and rotten to the core. But I would say... Cappuccino for Jeremy? Oh, that can't be right. When you get a latte, there's a heart on top. The rest of it dregs. What I'm trying to say is, that 1% at the top, we're going to look after you. That's on me, actually. I probably should have guessed you would have sent this back. Did you know there is a climate crisis? And actually, it's all your fault because you don't recycle and you don't know what goes in what bin. So this is trickle-down economics. I'm filling up my cup, but my cup will overflow and fill up the cups below it. Just look. Any minute now, it will overflow and fill the other. It seems I'm just filling up my own cup. And finally, we have this. Incredibly easy to make, indulgent, a bit samey, and doesn't really affect anything. Also, the final bit of it will always be a bit underwhelming. Willies.
I say, I yearn to return and to stay more than 49 days. I'll try not to be quite as bad as Rishi is in the public eye, and he's quite bad. Butterhead, lettuce, loose leaf, cos, and also romaine, they are all going bad. Remember, you cannot spell salad without sad. Liz is back, no quasi. I became PM and killed the Queen, but at least I did not ask a homeless guy what kind of job he had. Oceans rise, wages fall, 12 years of making things awful. Curb your rights, taxes hiked, then we'll send some fully armed police to stop your protest or your strike. Da 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 da.
Hello, Lee Anderson, who is definitely not my friend and just an MP who happens to have randomly come to my front door. I'm just eating a meal that I cooked for less than 30p. If, of course, you don't take into account the cost of gas, cooking utensils, and a fully stocked pantry. Not to mention the luxury of having the time to cook it. Being poor is easy. I am a big supporter of Lee Anderson. He said if I didn't say that, he'd fight me in a boxing match. Oh, you didn't say that? Oh, he didn't say that. What did you say then? Do you know what? I've never ever seen him at one of the white pride meetings that neither of us go to. He's funny as well. Tell him some of the jokes you do down Skegby Scooter Club. Does the accents and everything, don't you? Oh, he's gone all shy. I could do it for... What do you mean, no? We've just had enough of these champagne socialists. What we want is a bitter conservative. Us normal people are tired of being used by politicians. Is that what you wanted me to say? Lee manages to live frugally on a measly salary of 84 grand a year plus £222,000 of business expenses. If he can do it, why can't a stupid lazy nurse? I like him because he's very open and transparent. I mean, he will tell you very specific personal details about his employees. You want me to say what? What do you mean Raab will hit me if I don't? Jesus. Sorry, Dom. Alright, okay. The fact Lee Anderson is deputy chairman is a victory of Britishness, common sense and t north. What do you mean read it more convincingly? I'm not an actor. I'm between jobs at the minute. Anyway, thanks so much for coming. I've got to go now because we got to prep for that Channel 4 one, don't we? Oops.
Yes, thank you for having me on. I think the first thing to say here really is that this bill is not going to contravene any human rights. We have actually stopped referring to human rights as human rights. We've started calling them in the party human lefts because they have been co-opted by this woke agenda that sees everything as all fluffy and illogical. So we're referring to them as human left. In fact, the word human is probably something to get away from in this debate. We're trying really to only say small boats. Don't think about the human lives in the boats, just think about the small boats. We really hate small boats. Big boats, that's a different story. That is a different discussion. We can talk about, if you come to this country on a big boat, we'll probably let you in. We are talking here about deterrence, okay? These people sit in their horrible foreign countries and they think, maybe I'll go to the UK. Maybe I'll risk dealing with a violent criminal gang. Maybe I'll risk crossing the dangerous channel and then I'll come to the UK. But if those people found out there was a law against it, well, they might just then give it a miss. It is not unlike our Rwanda plan, which, yes, we paid 120 million up front, which was a great deal. And since that deterrent was put in place, literally no one has been sent to Rwanda. So they are incredibly deterred. If these people do want to come here, they have to make sure they don't pass through another safe country first. These people come through France and then they come to us. Why don't they just stop in France? Well, I can understand why they wouldn't stop in France, because then they'd have to live in France. Of course, the hardest part about this entire bill is that we will have to start dealing more closely with the French. I won't explain the complexities and intricacies of this bill to you here now, and it's not because I don't understand them. It's because I need you to understand that what we're doing here, figuratively speaking, with this law, is we are making a wall against illegal immigration. Because what is the word law if not the word wall spelt backwards? Almost. Football and politics are very similar. They both take balls and they both take a lot of Russian money. Gary Lineker really demonstrates the bias that is against us. And that bias is so strong that it supersedes, the money that the chairperson of the BBC donated to us. Politics, football, left wing, right wing, people on the bench, lots of sexual harassment. I would in this video be wearing my footy shirt, but I did actually auction that off for charity, so I definitely don't have it. It is quite hard to understand what these footballers like Gary Lineker want, mainly because of the accents.
They're regional. Ugh.
Things in politics can get messy, and the SNP often say Neymar, like Neymar no more. We are the strikers, and by strikers I don't mean strikers, because obviously people who strike are scum, but we are the ones who score. We're the winners. You're in safe hands. We, the Conservative Party, are the country's goalkeeper. The country is the ball, and we are Massimo Taibbi. Politics is a lot like football. For example, we in the Conservative Party believe that it doesn't really count if women are involved. Whether you're on the pitch or in the Commons, you will see a bad tackle. We are a little bit, I suppose, like Zinedine Zidane, because we've got a strong head and we don't mind violence. Someone in our party used to play with a pig's bladder. Is it Jacob Rees-Mogg?
Is it David Cameron? You'll never know. So the main thing to take away is keep talking about football, and please don't start talking about our cruelty or incompetence.
I got a confession, my obsession with Succession is to see the progression of the scenes that have Cousin Gregor. He's a legend and he's flawless even though he may be ballless. Call him Soros, Nira's husband, 6'7", slightly awkward. Grab a beverage, got some leverage and it's in a manila folder. Logan had a hemorrhage looking like his reign is over, but he said I'm sorry son cause Kendall ain't a killer. He's only making plays that fail so you could call him Willa. L to the OG, dude be the OG, and he playing like a pro-C. Roy better know me, Sandy clothing, living on an island, Adrian Brody. Got a nice beanie and I'm looking so fly. I'm meeting up with Stewie, I'm a family guy. I'll stab you in the back, I don't need a knife. I got a shiv, an IOU, and a UTI. Roy Coe got bruises, thanks to cruises. Who takes over? Logan chooses. Old abuses, poor excuses. Shit's more crazy than Tom Cruise's. It's evident the president's not Connor, so don't gloat. You set a silly precedent, take off your fucking coat. You wanna start a fire, Jerry can't get out a fucking way, cause she is proven she's Vesuvius, this Romans in Pompeii. I'm feeling like I hit $1 million home run. Don't share a bed with Roman, learned that in Home Alone 1. Send a dick pic to his daddy, so just tell me who's the baddie then. The accent, I'm just putting it on. Matthew McFadden. I talk a lot like Brian Cox. But I don't mean the science guy, that isn't me. I'm from Dundee and you know that my hips don't lie. Won't say goodbye, it's time to stop, so take the mic there, Mr. Cox.
Fuck off! Hello kids, I'm Cocky the Clown. I'll be your entertainer for this afternoon's party. Now, my other job is as a Tory MP. Oh, sorry, I think that's just a call from my constituents. Rule number 1 of parties, there are no rules that we abide by. Yes, I have had to get a second job because for all of us in the country, times are tough. Musical statues, kids, here we go. Amy, did you just topple? How dare you try and erase this country's history? Take your disgusting snot-nosed face and get out! Oh no, you've grazed your knee. You're going to have to sort that out on your own. Yes, children, I know that Archie got all of the sweets from the fox-shaped piñata, but you've got to understand, Archie is taller and better than you, and I went to school with his dad, so now we're going to play Grandma's Footsteps. What do you mean Grandma died in the pandemic? That's hardly my fault. Well, I may have never been an entertainer before, but I've been an MP, and once you've done that, you can basically do anything. Heart surgeon, scuba diver, sketch comedian, although I wouldn't want to do that. You want to have lunch in the middle of a party? This isn't a food bank. Pass the parcel.
Music, background music.
Oh, it's complete chance that I won and always win. I've got a completely impartial best friend over there doing the music. When are we having cake? Oh, I'm afraid I already had the cake and ate it too. Okay, kids, Cocky's got to go now, and it's not because I've got parliamentary responsibilities, it's because I've got a show on GB News to host. So don't forget your party bags, they're the little suitcases at the front filled up with co-op wine. And Mum and Dad, if I could talk to you about my payment of 60 grand. Hello, fellow townsfolk. We were thinking of doing another witch hunt, but this time instead of targeting a random innocent lady who we just decide to murder, we were thinking of just putting a liar in front of a committee. I know this doesn't sound like a usual witch hunt. In fact, it doesn't really sound like a witch hunt at all, but it definitely is one. Sorry? No, if he sinks, he's not a witch. I think if he sinks, he just gets like a lucrative talk TV deal. He has been pictured standing around vessels filled with potent liquid. Like a cauldron. Yes, more like a glass of wine, but in a way, like a witchy cauldron. He has most probably appeared in Macbeth. And I know what some of you are thinking. Actually, witches aren't in Macbeth. They're referred to as the Weird Sisters. But to that, I would say, don't ruin the sketch with that shit, mate. Ooh, just as a point, you know how usually when we do these hunts, we obviously give the witch a publicly funded legal team? That's happening this time too. Any questions? We can't burn him. He's already been grilled far too much as far as we're concerned, actually. Is he suspected of malevolent magic? More incompetent cruelty, but is witch hunt the right term, actually? Because it's sort of not. Is it a fox hunt? No, because foxes are innocent in that too. Is it a wild goose chase? No, because we know where and what the goose is. The goose is a lying man. No, it's not really like a witch hunt, is it? If it's not like a witch hunt, then what's it like? I guess it's sort of a little bit like a UK House of Commons privileges inquiry into whether or not Boris Johnson misled Parliament. Let's just call it a witch hunt. Pitchforks? Pitchforks.
I have been advised by my advisories not to make this video, okay? I am being indicted. Stormy Daniels, did I pay her hush money? No, they were shushy dollars. Very shushy dollars, the shushiest dollars I found. And she should have shushied, and that's that. They say they will take my fingerprints and put me in handcuffs. Well, I get out of anything. I get out of handcuffs and I have no fingerprints. That's true. That's a fact. Look it up. You can find it. Will I go to jail? No. Should you incite violence in response? This man, Mr. Bragg, has a very braggy name, very arrogant name. Don't trust this man. I am the most innocent there is. I am more innocent in many ways than a baby or a child. Innocence is my middle name. Donald Innocence Trump. Don't look that one up. The radical leftist Joe Biden is trying to take me down. He's trying to do a scar on this Mufasa. To quote The Lion King, I'm really innocent. My advisors say to me, Mr. President, because that's my name, witch hunt. I say this hunt, and they say no, witch hunt. And I say, okay, this hunt. And we go back and forth for hours. First president to be indicted. Obama couldn't have done this. Hillary couldn't have done this. Only I could do this. I did it really well. You should vote for me. 2024. I will be back in that round office. It's not an oval office. It's a circle. Big squiggly circle. I love it. Remember, whether it's Stormy or the Capitol, I cannot be blamed for any erection I've ever caused.
Here in Italy, and I guess all of Europe for the most part, they just don't do lunch.
Really? Where are you staying?
My hotel, 5-star, no lunch.
You should have stayed in an Airbnb.
I'm like getting, I don't want to say in the
A do-to-do?
do with the lady. It's like, listen, lady, I need fucking lunch.
That is absolutely a do-to-do.
But I wake up, I want lunch.
Well, it is the most important meal of the day.
I'm a lunch guy. I'm a lunch, huge dinner guy.
Sorry, so what are your thoughts on lunch?
I like to eat lunch.
But you can't get any.
They don't do lunch in Europe.
That is why we left, actually. Lunch means lunch. So you can't find any lunch in Italy?
Nuh-uh.
What do you spend your day doing?
You just sit down, you do wine tastings, you eat a little prosciutto, some cheese,
That sounds a little bit like lunch.
and you just pass the time till it's dinner.
Ah, dinner. The lunch of the evening.
That, no coffee. Forget about getting coffee. That don't exist.
They don't have coffee in Italy.
So you're getting espressos.
Espresso is coffee there.
Nobody told me that.
Oh, it definitely is.
Fine. Lots of espressos, no lunch.
Oh, he's back on the lunch thing.
Hey, where's my lunch? I need lunch.
What would you do if suddenly I just brought you some lunch? Oh, I should clarify, I don't actually have any. So, what's your favourite Italian phrase?
Italy, ciao, scusi.
Oh, and what does that mean?
Lunch, see ya. No lunch.
And finally, do you have a favourite English word?
Lunch.
Fair enough.
Good evening, America. My name is Tom Bantam, stepping in here for Tucker Carlson, the latest in a long list of good, honest white men to be cancelled. Cancelled by his own place of work. I mean, is this what this country has come to now? It's gone too far. Last week, I was in the airport, and my flight was cancelled due to snowflakes. They called it a bad weather warning, but I think we really know what happened there. What has our country come to that a man can't even present the news anymore? It's a sad state of affairs, and it comes directly after Fox News paid $800 million, donated $800 million to journalistic integrity. We are committed to bringing you news, and I swear to you, as Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior, is my witness, everything I say on this show will be undeniably new. Top stories this week: we need to start arming prom kings in order to protect our children. Shots were fired at a Texas prom after party, injuring 9 people. So I ask you, what is a prom king sash, if not just a rifleless holster? Trouble over at CNN, the corporate narcissist network. They've let go of popular anchor Don Lemon with seemingly no explanation. I do not see a way of a news network surviving that. How are you going to get rid of a popular anchor with no explanation? That's a bad move. Bad move. India has overtaken China as having the world's largest population. So I would encourage you to go out there with a pin, poke some holes in some condoms, and help America get back on top. And finally, Joe Biden, our unelected head of state, looks set to announce his 2024 election campaign. I don't know about you, but in the view of this humble and impartial reporter, I hope that before 2024, he dies. More stories coming up next. Our tolerance for disruption this Coronation Weekend is going to be incredibly low. If you're wondering what we consider to be disruption, I've got a little list here for you. Booing, jeering, clapping too much, sneezing, not clapping enough, referring to the day as Corrie Bobs, instigating a Mexican wave, British waves only please, referring to the day as a Bank Corrie Day, making fun of the Stone of Destiny, doing the Macarena, refusing to eat quiche, referring to the day as Corrie Vacation, not smiling, eating any sort of soy-based product, smiling too much, refusing to eat celebrations, not smiling enough, saying anything about Prince Andrew, exercising your right to protest, being black, organising a silent vigil, thinking, smiling ironically, wearing any sort of hemp product, being a woman, forgetting the words to the national anthem, being poor, knowing the words to the national anthem, farting, crying, not crying, laughing, feeling hopeful, privately wondering if the monarchy is a good or bad thing, asking why we have an unelected head of state, being a nurse, standing in police horse poop, not standing in police horse poop, making jokes about crown jewels. And the main thing that you can do to not cause disruption and completely ruin everyone's day is really try your very best not to be Meghan Markle.
Labour don't want you drinking bleach. In fact, none of the mainstream political parties do. The European Union probably had rules against it. But I'm one of these people. If you tell me I can't do something, that's exactly the thing I'm going to do. I'm a very fun person to hang out with. I have lots of friends. Bottoms up. Probably can't say that anymore, can you? Lovely bit of bleach. Go on, arrest me. What's next? Can't punch myself in the face, can't urinate live on air, can't spread disinformation. How about all three? The pandemic was a hoax. I consider myself to be a serious journalist. I'm not even a bleach drinker. I'm an avowed anti-bleach drinker. I've never drunk bleach before in my life, but I live in Great Britain. I can do what I want. I don't live in somewhere like New Nart Zealand. Funny play on words, isn't it? Whatever you think about the politics, you can't deny that I am a very cool and interesting presenter, and I do very cool and clever things. Coming up next, who's profiting from the COVID vaccines? Probably Meghan Markle.
You can't say anything now because of wokeness, and that's why we've had to have this conference to say those things that we can't say. Nationalism is actually quite lovely, and the Nazis really mucked it up for us all. That and the Charlie Chaplin moustache. The left can't even define what a woman is. Now, I have no medical training. I'm not an endocrinologist. I have no expertise whatsoever, but I know what a woman is. The definition of a woman is a buxom milkmaid, rosy cheeks, red lips, ovulates once a month on exactly the same day, same time, same hour, has a womb, 2 breasts, shoulder-length hair, and thinks Jacob Rees-Mogg is a looker. Anything short of that, she's a man. It's easy really, isn't it? Thank you. I am worried about our children. They should be raised by a man and a woman. If children are raised by same-sex couples, they are going to have far too much fun. Conservatism loves common sense and hates common people. Now, I blame the... Oh, sorry, someone's crossed it out and written cultural Marxists. Oh, wait, that was me. Yes, a lot of this country's wealth was built on slave labour, but we signed the Abolition of Slavery Act in 1833. And though we still profited from slavery and practiced it in our colonies until we abolished it again in Sierra Leone in 1928, you're welcome. There were no slave revolts that contributed to the ending of slavery. It was all just us. So remember, we should take credit for and feel good about having abolished slavery. But we should feel absolutely no shame for having done it in the first place. Now, I know what you're thinking. I have suspicions this might be a satirical video, and you're absolutely right, but me, it's hard to tell at the moment, isn't it?
So I'm sorry to start this video with foul language, but I am really wound up, actually. So Matt Hancock, yesterday, he went on a show called The News Agents, right? And this show apparently is to talk about the news, but all they talk about is the past. So first of all, that's not news. That's olds. Call yourself the olds agents, right? Matt Hancock is a human being. We learnt that when he ate a cow anus in the jungle. He's a human being. All he's guilty of, right? The reason he resigned, actually, Boris Johnson said to him, listen, Matt, you got to resign because you fell in love. Now, falling in love, that wasn't against any of the COVID rules or guidelines, was it? No, it wasn't. And the reason that, like, my grandma's funeral was just 8 of us standing there crying for 10 minutes really far apart, that wasn't because Matt Hancock fell in love, was it? And actually, knowing that he'd fallen in love during that time, that made us feel a lot better. It's time that Matt was allowed to just wash his hands of all this nonsense. Like, wash and sanitize his hands. And it doesn't matter which company made the hand sanitizer. All that matters is that Matt Hancock's hands are clean, okay? So leave him alone.
Thanks for having me, guys. I'll just do a quick Latty flow. And don't worry, I'll be wearing a face mask at all times on my wrist. It's a big wedding for you, innit, Boris? Rule of 3. So let's start with the most important. Where are you going to do the stag do? In a nursing home. Lovely choice. So we will do the actual ceremony in a church. And I know that vows sounds very serious, but remember, they're really just guidelines. They can be broken. As you're leaving the church, I was thinking, you look at it as unusable PPE. I look at it as upcycled confetti. Food-wise, there is a large fridge on site. It's more for the food, but I don't see why you wouldn't be able to hide in it. We should keep the wedding favours sort of low-key, so maybe a miniature bottle of brandy, a PPE contract, and a place on the honours list. Food, we'll be doing mackerel de vidange. I know you hate the French, but that does sound a little bit better than sewage mackerel. Do you have a venue in mind for the party? Oh, just any room in number 10 during work hours. Is that going to be difficult to organise? No. Lovely. So I'll action all of that, and Boris, I'll see you again in 5 years for the next one.
a Gina Colada. I absolutely love these. There's nothing wrong with drinking them, even if there are guidelines against it. Can I put it at number 1? Oh, no, let's put it at number 2 because I did have another drink on the go when I first had one of these. Ooh, PP-Roni. Yes, they're very expensive and often the bottles are so substandard they don't make it out of the warehouse because of safety concerns, but I do let my friends buy lots of them and they're very expensive. But that money does come back around because I'm a nice and lovely sort of normal dude, so let's put that at number 3. Ooh, Jungle Juice. Oh, so I only ever drink this for other people. It's not about me. I don't even enjoy drinking them. In fact, I tend to donate a huge proportion of my Jungle Juice to other people who don't have the drinks. A big whopping 10%. That's definitely at number 5 then. Rolsch Misconduct. Okay, now I do tend to drink this a lot. The best place to get a really nice glass of this is when you've got a bit of a tickly throat and no sense of taste in a nursing home. But because of that specific requirement, I think that's got to be number 4. Oh no, a Dakar Inquiry. Oh, I don't like these at all, and it's a bad pun. Oh, all my friends hate these. We never order them for ourselves. Other people order them for us. They leave an incredibly bitter taste in their mouth. But look, I've only got number 1 slot left, so it has to go there, but I would like to change that order. But there you have it. Those are my 5 favourite drinks. So follow me on TikTok. Remember, I'm just a normal, fun guy enjoying himself, just like people used to do before they died in the pandemic.
Hello there, I'm a kangaroo. A lot of people are talking about kangaroo courts in quite a derogatory way. And I want you to know, kangaroos, we hold the judicial system in very high regard, actually. Don't get me wrong, I'm just a marsupial who loves to jump around. We all like a jump. But saying we don't respect the law, that is a bit of a leap. If a kangaroo had been in charge of this, which we weren't, we would have said Boris Johnson definitely misled Parliament. That's obviously what happened. Sometimes I have to regurgitate the vegetation that I've eaten, chew it again, then swallow it for final digestion. And I'm telling you that Partygate makes me feel sick. Honestly, it's really put me off my own vomit. I'm just trying to clear the kangaroo name. I'm not going to beat around the bush, baby. When a kangaroo or a Boris Johnson meet a lady they're kind of into, what do? Sniff a urine, that's right. Then, after they copulate, the male just goes off to find another female. What I'm saying is we're quite similar, and even I, a kangaroo, can see that he's in the wrong. This man broke the rules, then lied about it, and it was at a time when people had to isolate. I mean, I had to quit my job. I had to move back into my mum's pouch. What was my job? I was Skippy's PA. A nightmare. The man is a liar, and we have a phrase in kangaroo culture that goes a bit like this. And that roughly translated means Boris Johnson is a cunt.
Stones and stones of belly and dewlap. By this time, my spider senses were jangling. Not tingling, jangling. I was going to search for the hero inside myself. Caesar was right to be worried about Cassius. Suddenly, I was interested. I was going to locate that svelte and dynamic version of Johnson, imprisoned for decades. I was going to set him free. There was no argument. It was a miracle. A giant black and orange lizard from Mexico. Their stomachs started to think that they belonged to Gila monsters or reptilian slowness. But the Gila monster hormone was too short-lived. Say goodbye to that unconquerable mid-morning lust. Stand over the children, waiting for them to push aside their bowls of pasta, and then ruthlessly scoff whatever they have left. I was going to acquire a new chemical willpower. It started to go wrong. So that's my self-tape. Thanks so much. Very comfortable doing pack-downs, get-ins, and the pay is almost too much, actually. Open-air theatre is great. I love the rain. What a part to be playing.
Are you outraged? Do you hate people? Do you love puns that sort of half-scan? Well, you could have a lucrative career ahead of you in the tabloid press. Journalists tell stories, and stories can annoyingly often be complicated and nuanced, and that makes them very hard for my brain to understand. That's why we just make them up. Is there a human cost to that? Let me check on my standard issue tabloid moral compass, which is just in this pocket. Remember at school when you could make things up and ruin people's lives? Why not do that on a national scale? You can literally say whatever you want, as long as you're selling papers. we're happy. Perks of the job include never having to do any research, getting to listen to people's saucy voicemails, harassing colleagues, hounding people into early graves, oops, and of course special access to the 4th, 7th, 8th and 9th circles of hell, with a direct phone line to Satan himself, and the ability to listen to his voicemails. Also, you won't have to worry about having a soul, which is nice. You've always wanted power and you've never quite got it because, you know, you are fundamentally you. So why not turn that impotent rage and insecurity into cold hard cash? It's easier than being a police officer. All you have to do is demonize entire groups of people, stoke the fires of the culture war, and emanate hate from every single pore in your body. They say there's no such thing as bad press, but they are wrong. We're the bad press. So, please, come and work for us. It might not be nice, but it is very, very easy.
Doesn't seem to matter how many times I called them guidelines, or went on TV and cried. Oh, I have TikToks that I have to make, lies to fabricate. When I say I fell in love, I mean cheated and bolstered up. 'Cause I'm just Matt. People keep on calling me a twat. Yes, I was an MP, but now I'm just a lovely, nice celebrity. I'm just Matt. Wrote a book and it was crap. What will it take for you to see beyond the PP and just see me?
Just a nice normal guy.
I'm just Matt, a normal dude, doing lip syncs, being cool. So hey, check me out, 'cause I'm just Matt. Oh baby, I'm just Matt.
London has become disgustingly woke. If it's not woke, why are there no white caps? There's an aeroplane going over. Sorry to trigger anyone with the fumes. Do you think they cared about fumes in the war? TFL, frankly, the worst offender. Probably stands for tofu for lesbians. You're forced to wear a badge if you're pregnant now. Back in my day, if you wanted to know if someone was pregnant, you'd go up to them without permission, grab their belly and say, how far along are you? Yes, I was wrong a lot, but who cares? Not me. The woke propaganda's all over the escalators. If you're on the left, you're allowed to swan on through, but if you're on the right, you have to stand there motionless. I walk directly down the middle and I do not hold the handrail. The only thing I'm holding on to is my exposed todger. They tell you to carry water on a hot day. Oh, water. I haven't drunk water since 1998 when someone at Eton tried to trick me that they'd invented see-through claret. You know what's ridiculous? You're not even allowed to sexually harass anyone anymore. And yet, the cards are named after aphrodisiacs. Probably actually can't even say Oyster cards anymore because they're not vegan. There are all these signs telling people what to do. I saw one the other day that said, keep calm and carry on. You would not have got something like that in the war. All this wokeness is a slippery slope, and they probably have some sign about how dangerous the slippery slope is. If the Blitz happened now, no one would make it underground to safety because they'd all be on their phones crying to their therapists about how the handrail hasn't been sanitized. God, I wish it was World War II again. We need to fight for our freedom. When they tell us to mind the gap, we need to respond the same way I did to my wife when she told me to mind my child. F***ing no. Now, I'm not sure about you, but we in government, not fans of crime. Big thumbs down, actually. We're not pro-crime like Labour or Just Stop Oil are. Some crimes are going to be investigated more. Some crimes are going to be investigated less. So, for example, murder. We're going to investigate murders more unless there's a mitigating circumstance, like if the murderer was a police officer. Obviously, we'll be cracking down on low-level drug use for absolutely everybody, except white middle-class people and anyone who goes to Glastonbury. Theft, that's a big one. Important to know what theft is. So a wealthy person avoiding tax or not paying their employees properly whilst giving themselves a big bonus, that doesn't feel very crimey to me. A dirty little horrible person going into a shop and for their own personal gain, stealing nappies or food, crime. The police will be cracking down on antisocial behaviour, you know, things like protesting, holding a silent vigil, being a woman. I'm very excited because we have the most police we've ever had. We've gone up by 20,000 officers, then down by 20,000, and back up by 3,000, so that's amazing. The crime of false imprisonment, a bit of a grey area. So imagine you'd locked a load of vulnerable people on a boat with contaminated drinking water and no real fire safety. that would be fine. As long as those people arrived on small boats. Because if they came here on a small boat, they sort of are the crime. In fact, what we're thinking of doing is maybe GPS tagging them as soon as they arrive. So even if they weren't criminals, we will be treating them like they are criminals, just in case. And remember, in our eyes, the greatest crime that you can commit is being vulnerable or poor. So don't be.
Hello, I'm a bird, and I'm here to say that we perch in solidarity with the RSPB. The government are acting like complete and utter tits, and I know something about tits. My wife has 2 of them. No, she fosters 2 young birds. Get your mind out of the gutter. She also has a cracking set. And basically, the government are proposing to scrap EU-era water restrictions for new housing developments, which is quite literally a load of shit. I want to clarify something. Boris Johnson did nothing to help the bird community. When they say that Boris Johnson developed thrush, it's not what they mean. Our habitat is being destroyed, and that is tough to swallow. Now, I wouldn't say boo to a goose, but I tell you what, I would say fuck off to an MP. The Tories are so bad, it's hard these days to know who people are talking about when they mention the blue tits. It does make sense, though, that they hate birds, because most of us are migratory. The early bird gets the worm? No. The bird who went to school with all the other birds gets the worm, despite having 0 previous worm experience. Right, I'd like to leave you on this, which is a poem that a magpie taught me about the current government. Goes a bit like this. 1 for sorrow, 2 for blow. 3 for C words, 4 for boats, 5 for cronies, 6 were scared, 7 for earnings undeclared. A thank you. Oh my God.
Nadine, do you have any integrity?
Oh, no, that's gone.
You once did a rap about online safety. Do you consider yourself to be a rapper?
Oh, absolutely.
What's your MC name?
Disastrous losses.
Are you a fan of the Black Eyed Peas?
Yeah.
Can you sing one of their songs?
There's no love out on the streets.
What do you think's the hardest part of being an MP?
You know, the thing I can't get my head around and no one can get their head around is
How Channel 4 is funded, yeah. Complicated.
and I don't think many people are actually aware of that.
It did take you 2.5 months to actually resign. What were you doing in that period?
My resignation letter.
And what would you say to people who are going to read that letter?
You're going to suffer.
So you're done now. What are you spending your time doing?
Juggling.
Oh, how many balls?
4.
We've got a question here from a famous singer. Do you believe in life after love?
I can't share.
Do you have a personal hero?
Boris Johnson.
Ooh, didn't he lie to Parliament and break lockdown rules?
As far as I'm concerned, that's part and parcel of the job.
I think he's a bad guy.
If you don't like it, get out of the kitchen.
How do you know I'm filming this in my kitchen?
I'm actually shocked.
You're writing a book about Boris Johnson. What would you say to people who are thinking of reading it?
You shouldn't.
Is it any good?
It is nonsense.
Right.
But I'm afraid it has to happen.
Ooh, does it have one of those pages at the start that tells you where all the chapters are?
I'm not going to discuss the contents of the book at the moment.
What are your favourite things about Boris Johnson?
His personality and his charm, his openness, and his good, huge...
Nadine, thank you very much for your time.
Workers have become arrogant and lazy, and they're being paid a lot to do not a lot, and that is our shtick. Look, it's probably best if we kill the workers. Attitude, kill their attitude, wait for the end of the sentence. Okay, the word sociopath is bandied around a lot, especially at events I'm at. People say it all the time. We need unemployment to go up. If people lose their jobs, those people will want jobs. That's why they pay me the big bucks. That's why I pay me the big bucks. Good idea as a CEO to always undermine your workforce and call them lazy. You should try that. How do we incentivize people to work more? Fire them. The employer should not feel lucky to have the workers. The workers should feel lucky that they get to work for someone who earns so much more money than them. If more people are unemployed, they'll have a harder time of making money, and that means more money for me. I earn 55 times more than the typical worker. That means I'm 55 times less lazy. And let me tell you, I'm fucking lazy. I don't even do basic research into how unemployment affects people. I just say shit and my value goes up. Remember, I'm better than you. And I'm going to live to the ripe old age of 206 because I do ice baths and lymphatic drainage every day. Any questions?
Just start with a nice normal introduction.
Hello there, you awakening wonders.
Okay, tell the people what happened, but also pretend to be a mind trapped in a box.
I've received 2 extremely disturbing letters
Even more with the hands.
listing a litany.
Even more hands, and say the word litany again.
Litany.
Now maybe say a couple of fancy words to make yourself sound smarter than you actually are.
Astonishing, rather baroque.
Nice.
Are some very serious allegations.
Allegations that have been around for at least 10 to 15 years, bubbling under the surface as a sort of open secret. Those allegations, yeah.
That I absolutely refute.
Great use of hands. Look, I believe you.
The relationships I had were absolutely always
And we're just going to do a little cut here before you say the word.
consensual.
It's probably time now to quote from a really reputable source.
You guys have been saying in the comments for a while, watch out, Russell, they're coming for you, you're getting too close to the truth.
And we will at no point define who they are or what that truth might
A
be.
year ago, there was a spate of articles. Russell Brand's a conspiracy theorist.
That is insane.
I feel like I'm being attacked.
Oh, mate, I'm so sorry. I guess you are the victim here.
We are obviously going to look into this matter.
Because if there's one thing this channel values, it's research.
In the meantime, I want you to stay close,
Oh, sorry, okay.
stay awake, but more important than any of that, if you can, please stay free.
And that's a wrap. Well done, everybody. Great use of hands. And I don't think anyone's going to think that you started off as this sort of free-thinking liberal comedian who had a large platform and then slowly transitioned that platform as you got radicalised into this sort of grift to develop an audience that would trust you whatever you said in case, I don't know, something like this happened. Kombucha? So Liz Truss is writing a book, and a lot like some of my inner leaves, it's a lot more bitter than you'd expect. I'm not angry at her, but it's become clear that I've really pissed her off. Like, she seems to be blaming her downfall on people with plant-based diets, and I genuinely think that might be because she was outlasted by a lettuce. She says she wants to share the lessons that she learned from her time in government. What? Both of them? No, I'm joking. I am joking. We actually have a lot of stuff in common. I'm pro-growth. I too don't understand economics. And inside, I am a little bit rotten. I also hate Just Stop Oil. Without oil, I'd be permanently undressed. I'd need to get myself some dressing gowns. Don't know if you can help me out with that, Lizzie. None of us like Greta Thunberg. She's eaten a lot of my family, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. To be honest, this isn't fair. She doesn't like talking about the lettuce thing. I guess it's all still a bit raw. I do hope Liz is able to move on from this and process it positively. You know, I want her to be able to turn over a new leaf. I mean, it is just easier to blame this imagined global left rather than come to terms with the fact that people think you're less effective than a leafy green vegetable. I actually will be writing a book about my experience of outlasting Liz Truss. It's called This Little Gem Remains. I hope Liz reads it, I really do. I'll be leafing through hers because we are the same. Just think about it. If you turned up to a dinner party and either me or her were the main event, you'd be disappointed. So I woke up this morning, I was very, very worried because there were a lot of laws that I really disagreed with that were coming into effect. One of which they were planning to get rid of Fridays, and the government have stopped that. We still have the Friday, so that's great. I woke up as we all do every morning, popped some money in the meter, and then came outside to put the 7 bins out. 5 of them had gone. I only had 2 bins left. It was amazing. It was unbelievable. So no meat tax, only 2 bins. I mean, say what you want about this Rishi guy. I really like him. I know there's a lot of poverty and stuff, but I think he's doing a great job. I'm just waiting for my compulsory carpool to work. Alan's late, which is not like him, but maybe they've got rid of that policy as well. Maybe they've scrapped that, or he knows about me and Deborah. We'll see. Ah, there he is. Hi. Oh God, he knows. He knows. He knows.
Hello, I'm a dog, obviously, and I've just got back from the Tory party conference. Tail hurts a bit. No, seriously, in many ways, standing on a dog is the least evil thing she's done. The Home Secretary does confuse us dogs because she is constantly, wherever she goes, dog whistling. Or, as we dogs like to call it, being an incredible bigot. We're very happy they're stopping Labour's meat tax because we dogs hate things that have been completely made up. Like when you pretend to throw a ball for us and there's no ball. That is not nice at all, actually. Did have a nice time at the GB News party. The good boy news. That's what I call it. Obviously had to endure Nigel Farage and Priti Patel singing a song. That was, I could take my eyes off of them. But also they played my favourite song, the most mysterious song of all. Who let the dogs out? Even I don't know. We love the Tories, us dogs. They've announced that they're going to get wokeness out of science, which is definitely not completely meaningless. We support them, and they've had a really rough time. They're saying lots of stuff. None of it policy, but sounds great to me. The Tories are basically dogs that have been left alone for 13 years, and they've broken everything, they shit everywhere, they've pissed on everything, and we've all just come back and gone, hold on, what's going on? And they've looked at us and gone, wokeness, it's wokeness, this is all wokeness, that's why it's broken, not me. I think I'll use that excuse next time, actually. Anyway, in the words of many male Tory ministers, I'm off to hump something.
Stand up and fight.
Sit down and hug. We're just spitballing.
Against socialism.
We hate socialism.
Whether it is made of velvet or iron.
Macaroni or lint.
Have courage.
Everyone loves courage.
And conviction.
Tell them, Penny.
Because when you do...
PM, am I right?
You move our countrymen, our communities and capital of all kinds to our cause.
A load of C words from a couple of C words.
Stand up and fight.
Oh, we've already done that bit, Penny.
Because when you...
Here we go.
Stand up and fight.
Oh, she's saying that again. Penny, who are we fighting?
The person beside you.
I don't want to fight the person beside... You're the person beside me.
And when our party stands up and fights...
Wait, why did we settle on stand up and fight? Who fights sitting down?
The nation stands up and fights.
Yeah, everyone in the country, same time, up on your feet, pummel the shit out of each other.
And when our nation stands up and fights...
Seriously, yeah, parents, grandkids, babies, no one's off limits.
Other nations stand up and fight.
Everyone in the whole world just fucking going at each other.
And they stand up and fight for the things upon which the entire progress of humanity depends.
Demonising asylum seekers, vile attacks on trans people, corporate tax breaks.
Freedom.
Freedom, I meant freedom.
Have courage.
Oh, that's a nice one too, isn't it? Much nicer than what we're actually doing.
Bring hope.
So we say bring hope, but if you are a member of a marginalised group, we're fucking coming for you.
That is what Conservatives do.
We will take everything you have and profit from your pain.
That is what this nation does.
Right, and that's the end of the speech. Penny, why don't you leave them with a pithy line that you haven't said before that's definitely not like an aggressive populist call to arms.
Stand up and fight.
And she said it again. Do you know what? In for a penny, in for a pound. Do it again, but louder.
Stand up and fight.
Thank you, Wembley.
Thank you, conference.
Close enough. Oh, amazing. Oh, I don't think that makes us seem evil at all. Why don't you point your finger one more time? Oh, really, really cool stuff. We're the good guys. So the internet is actually in the air all around us, kind of like yeast. It's in the ether, which is why it comes to us through an Ethernet cable. And it's called the internet because the woman who discovered it was an American lady who was out hunting for it, and she caught some of the internet in her net. Now, you can't turn the internet off. The only way to stop it would be to dam the river upstream from where the water wheel is that runs the whole thing. And that river is obviously in Silicon Valley, which is why they control everything. You may have assumed it was all like machine learning and coding, but that is not the case. They are in charge and they're all liberals. Have you ever heard of LAN, L-A-N? So that stands for the Liberal Adjustment Network, which is literally a dial that only turns to the left. Basically, they decide how woke to make the entire internet. I know that is nearly unbelievable, but it's true. It's a little dial, and that dial is the reason it was originally called dial-up. Now it's called fibre optic because the people in charge of the optics are the people who eat a lot of fibre, aka vegans. Wi-Fi actually stands for woke idiots forcing ideology, and it's the reason we have to say that we're connecting to a server and not a waitress. So this is the reason why when you search your name, nothing positive comes up. It's definitely not the case that people just don't view anything you've done as positive. No, no, it's wokeness. Hi, I am the UK and I've been with Rishi Sunak for about a year now. Happy anniversary, babe. It's just been great. We've been on loads of dates. I have ended up paying a lot more for food than I expected to. We've got quite into role play. I'll often dress up as a naughty nurse, and the naughty thing that I'll do is ask to be paid properly. I actually tend to dress up a lot as different key workers who are asking for more money, and he likes to dress up as a man with a greater personal wealth than the king, and then he'll say no. It is hot stuff. Not as hot as he's promised that it's gonna get. He has made great commitments to making the climate of our relationship almost unlivably hot. And I don't mean to be crude, but let's just say this. We really like using oil. It's been very romantic. We actually had this very expensive holiday planned. I'd spent a lot of time and money on it. We were going to go all the way to Birmingham, but we're not going to anymore. But wherever we do end up going, it will be in a private jet, so that'll be nice. The only downside to the relationship really is that I'm covered in sewage all the time. He keeps letting people throw sewage on me and then complains about the smell, which doesn't seem fair. I am a little bit worried about him breaking my heart, but my heart is made of strong stuff. Rack. It's made of rack. Now, I must admit, I have always been by-election curious, and I'm getting more and more so at the moment, but I'm not going to pie Rishi off, and that is because I cannot afford a pie. Don't worry, boys, I'll be back in a moment. Just got a little bit of work to do. You spoke to an expert. What did he say? She? Never mind. Well, what we've learnt this week is Italians, complete f***ing idiots. Good for nothing. Cappuccino for me, please, Susan. I have just been made aware that in the past 5 hours worth of meetings, the women in the room have spoken for 10 to 15 minutes. And I think we can all agree that that is wrong. I don't know how they were given that much time. I'll make sure it's less in the future. You know what? Hancock is spending a lot more time in his office, but he is looking more confident than ever. Sorry, darling? What's that? No, I know I can't call you that. What do you want? Psychological support. What's that? Is it like a bra for your brain? Now, I am not a misogynist, but that woman is a cunt. Uh-oh, he's gone full trolley mode because trolleys changed direction. Top shelf comedy there. Imagine. He's not a trolley's person. I don't really buy this NHS is overwhelmed idea. I'm an MP. I have 2 second jobs, 4 mistresses, and 5 children that I know of. I'm overwhelmed. At least I don't have a shortage of beds, if you know what I mean. He is on Jaws mode, wank. Jaws, the film Jaws. He thinks he's the mayor from Jaws and it's about keeping the beaches open. Basically, we're using pop culture to talk about important issues, and it's hilarious to us. Could you listen to the WhatsApps that I've sent? I'm not sure I've sworn enough in them. What have I got so far? Dickfish, shit crabs, wank flamingos, cock sparrows, titty tits, you know, like blue tits, kangaroos, twatworms, arse thrush. No, the bird thrush. I know that is confusing. Thrush, that's a good one. Fuck pigs, that's a great. Fuck pigs is great. I'm glad we workshopped this. Yes, of course I'm coming to the work event. I am feeling a bit peaky though. COVID test? No, I'll do you one better.
Don't have a heart, and now I'm out on my arse. I broke up families and chucked them on a barge. Baby, 'cause I was in charge, inspiring a peaceful march. Sing it with me, raise your voice. Homelessness is a lifestyle choice. Because if you wanna seek refuge in Britannia, we'll fucking send you to Rwanda. Got a good deal from a friend, and it only cost about 100 million. Now that there's more small boats than ever, chuck 'em on a barge, lock 'em up together. The water is full of Legionella. There is no braver man than Suella. Ella, Ella, made it hard to be a protester. Esther, unless you're a thug with a can of Stella. Ella, been replaced by James Cleverly.
I just wanted to do a bit of fascism. Oh, not this bloke. He's completely full of shit. Please let him be someone good. I wonder if I could Marilyn Manson it and just sting myself before you talk. He just leaves a bad taste in the mouth. Babe, come here. I found a place to lay the eggs. I'm absolutely done with him, actually. Aye, it's a steaming pile of shit in the shape of a man. Oh, fuck no, I'd rather die than spend any time with you. Seriously, like, he's such a piece of shit, I might try and roll him around. Disgusting! Deirdre, I'm finally in the mood for a little bit of sex, but only if you're very, very hungry. It's incredibly off-putting. You might drop some pork scratchings, you know? Oh, you can't put something that poisonous on television. Oh, look at that! It's one of us. Hello, mate.
We are actually very, very similar.
Oh, my mistake. Not a roach, just a cock. Don't tell him that we're basically communists. He is honestly the worst thing I've ever seen on the web.
What we both spread can be very deadly.
And don't tell him that we got a female leader. I mean, imagine finding that in your bath. Hideous.
We both like to mate in stagnant water.
And for the love of God, somebody go and warn Deck.
And that West won't let us open bank accounts.
I'm a beautiful butterfly. Oh, fuck, he's turned into a moth.
And people hate us.
Hello, I'm the most disgusting insect of all. Somebody who works in TV and who's platformed this horrible racist grifter in the name of good TV, because I will do anything for that. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm off to see if Andrew Tate fancies doing Bake Off.
Meet Mark, a man who has hope in his heart and joy in his soul because Mark doesn't give a shit about Glastonbury. He hasn't spent the entire weekend refreshing sea tickets. He hasn't been added to a single WhatsApp group about it. He hasn't pre-registered. He's not even really sure what that means. He did go to Leeds Fest once and thought it was absolutely fine. He can't relate to your pain. In fact, he finds it a little bit funny. He doesn't know the difference between culture or general entry, and he doesn't understand why you arrive on a Thursday for a weekend event. If you go to the pub with him, he'll politely say, "Oh, I've never been to Glastonbury." It might sound like he's just stating a fact, but look into his smug little eyes. Mark knows what he's doing. Mark is being a cunt. Albeit a cunt who has £355 more than you do if you got tickets, which Mark, having no knowledge of it, sincerely doubts. He'll say annoying things about the damage to the land and how he actually likes proper camping, even though he's literally only done that once when he was 12. He'll say that he prefers to see bands in intimate venues, when in reality the last gig he went to was Franz Ferdinand in 2009. Mark is absolutely awful. The only person more awful than Mark is people who are buying Glastonbury tickets. Going to Glastonbury is not your personality, whereas Mark not going to Glastonbury absolutely is his personality. Spare a thought this Glastonbury for your boring friend who you never invited. He won't be thinking of you. He'll be smugly shaking his head at ticket prices and saying things like, "There's a lot of Class A drugs at Glastonbury, it's really problematic actually." He doesn't want to see pictures of your cool outfits. He thinks you look silly. He doesn't care about the banner you've made, but he will watch the Sunday headliner on TV and tweet that they're past their prime. Glastonbury. Whether you got tickets or you didn't, shut the fuck up about it.
Oh, sorry, mate. Excuse me. Could I just get a photo? I'm a huge fan. Oh, thanks so much. Cheers. Mate. Oh, fucking no, thanks. Oh, mate, you've really let yourself go there. Oh, I know it's Elvis Presley, but come on, absolutely horrible. Oh, he does not fit into my beauty standard, so, no picture, thanks. Do you know what? I think I'll tell this anecdote live on TV. I think it makes me seem like a really good person. Christmas time, mistletoe and wine, fat-shaming Elvis on TV in the daytime.
Hello, fan who made it to the end. Why are you here? Thank you for being here. I'm closer to this tree than I should be, really. It's a fake tree. Thank you so much for watching all the stuff that I've made this year. Or thanks for skipping to the end to see if there's any Easter eggs. No Easter eggs. It's Christmas. Idiot. I just appreciate it. Come see me next year. In a show, preferably, not just in person. Unless we know each other. Have a very happy new year. Have a Merry Christmas. Not in that order. It's weird. I don't really know how to end it. How do people end YouTube videos? I should probably give someone 10 grand. That's how Mr. Beast does it. Like this video for 10 grand. I may give that 10 grand to someone with my name and who looks like I'm giving it to me. Yeah. Bye. When do you stop waving? Now, I guess.